Welcome to Hide and Seek TV. It's your boy Hide and Seek, and I'm back again with another video. And I'm about to talk about how Lucifer creates characters in this reality that we're living in. You know what I mean by that? It's like in a sense of how he uses, identity. He destroys identities of, the chosen and of the real nations that God created. Gentiles being the so-called, whites, Hebrews, being the so-called blacks, Semitic people, the so-called Arabs and things of that nature. You have, Ephraimites, being a so-called Hispanic, Latino, and so forth. But I want to just explain why he creates these false identities, because once you can do that, now once a person have no identity, they have no conscience. You can control them. And now you can just make them whatever you want to be, because, as it's written, in whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not. So the God of this world, meaning, he wants to be the one to give names and to create things. So he want to do that to, war against humanity. We got to remember, this is Satan, an angel, the adversary of humanity, who want to war against humanity, who hates humans. He want everybody to die and just go to hell. He don't want the meek inheriting the earth. He don't want the saints to, have their portion of the earth and bring the kingdom to the earth and get to enjoy the new earth that comes after the 1,000-year reign. He don't want people knowing about the kingdom of heaven that's going to be on earth. He don't want the meek to inherit that. He just want everybody to burn and die. So, Lucifer obviously he masquerades as an angel of light. So he loves that theater, that drama, that comedy drama, you know, creating false realities. So obviously, he takes on many forms. I'm going to just go through a couple right quick. Lucifer, it's obviously that false light. He's the false, he masquerades as an angel of light. He's the light bearer, and he uses his light to bring false peace and false comfort. Bring that, I do what I want to do for my life, do what thou wilt. Instead of walking in the light of God, being obedient, seeking after the Lord, seeking his face, seeking his kingdom. Lucifer like to have people stubborn in their own ways, you know what I'm saying? So he plays that role of Lucifer. Then when he goes into that Azazel role, that's like him at full aggression, where he want to just destroy humans. Like I had shared a video with Bruce Lee, about how Azazel, obviously he's the Lord that brought in chaos and war and fighting amongst humans, teaching humans how to create weapons and swords and things of that nature to destroy one another. So when you understand that, when he go into that Azazel form, is when he's, when Satan is like in his aggressive state, where all you want to do is just destroy, destroy, destroy. He destroys anyway, but I'm just saying, when he in this state, that's when he's in like what you would call beast mode, per se. So that's why they gave people the Sims. Remember, they gave people the Sims games, and all that stuff was all programming. Barbie dolls, action figures, etc. You know, things of that nature. Remember, Vince McMahon played a vital role in bringing in that character role. Lucifer used Vince McMahon drastically to bring in those characters. Of people, playing a role of something of their a false idol imagination. So I'm gonna get into this in a minute. So just an example, it's the movie called Gamer years ago. Remember how they was on the movie, and they was able to like chip people brains, and they was able to control them. Death row inmates to get their brains chipped, and then they'd control them, and make them like be a part of this virtual world where it was really controlled by real people. You see, different characters. So they all go into that theater. So as it's written, for after all these things do the Gentiles seek, for your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. So you see the whole theme of the Gentiles seeking, after the ways of, after the world, per se. I'm not talking about like, just people and just regular Gentiles in general. I'm talking about who really came to know about seeking after the Lord. But I'm just talking about in general, like how, as it's written, the things of the Gentiles seek, vain glory, wealth on earth, things of that nature. And it's just an example. So, Hebrews, the tribe of Judah and Israel was never meant to be doing that, because as it's written, in Isaiah 49:6, and he said, "It is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserve of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be salvation unto the end of the earth." So, the role of the Hebrews of Judah is to be a light unto the Gentiles, not trying to be like the Gentiles, which goes into the sports, trying to become the next NBA player. That all goes into those characters that Satan creates. As it's written in 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 14. Actually, I read verse 11. "In those days went there out Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we had much sorrow." And then verse 14, "Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief." So you see how the whole thing of being sold to do wickedness, basically selling out to be as the Gentile, You see how serious this is, man. And that's how they want to do it, that's the character Satan create. You got the basket, the athlete. You have the hood gangster, You got the suburban black. That's why he like to destroy identities, because when you don't have no identity, he can make you anything. And he gives you options. You only got this path: military, college, and sports. And then rap. That's your only way out, Whether you dribble or whether you got a jump shot or you sling crack rock. Which one? That's your only two ways out, black man. And once you hit 30, you're old. So, yeah. That's how they like to push that mentality. The suburban black. You got the country black. You see what I'm saying? The stuff he does, man. The emo black. You see? The characters Lucifer create, That's why so-called blacks get the most time in jail, because say a so-called black was steal a candy bar, he might get 20 years in jail, 15 years in jail. A Gentile will probably only get 2 days, or, house arrest or something, or a slap on the wrist, they call it. And the black, how come we always got to get the worst, man? This ain't right. Us blacks always got to go, because we're not blacks. We're Judahites. Satan can do what he want to do to a black, because he created black. So he created the colors. He created African Americans so he can create stereotypes. So the whole theme is, when you understand why they do that, they give so-called blacks more time, because you're supposed to be a light unto the world. So obviously you held at a higher standard. So that's why Satan got it set up where, he already know that Judahites was never meant to seek after the ways of the Gentiles. We're supposed to be a light unto the world. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be a light unto the world. So say a so-called black, say he becomes a lawyer and he got a court case, and he might have, say, 2 clients. He might, got 2, say, millionaires. And then you have the Gentile, he has, say, Coca-Cola, and he has franchises, corporations. So, he make a mistake, he lose the court case. Hey, you don't win them all, but say the black lose, they always got to find a way to say, oh, blah, 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 we found this dirt on you, that dirt on you, we got to just let you go, And that's what Satan likes to do. He like to create these angles, and he created races. He created race, because he wanted to be able to cause this division and confusion amongst the humanity, to war against humanity, man. And this is what it all boils down to. Just with the Gentile, you got the trailer park Gentile. Drink your beer. Watch you some Andy Griffith. Remember you used to watch that growing up over your granddad's house. Watch you some Andy Griffith. Go out there, try to get some work. Try to make it. Just everybody's not. You're white, but everybody got. It's always gonna be tough times. Then you got the soccer mom. That's the stuff he creates. The suburban so-called white. You try to, everything. You make them. You go to the supermarket and say you forget a carton of orange juice that day, so your whole day is messed up. Oh man, the life is tough. Life is hard. I forgot they didn't have orange juice today. Oh wow, all kind of ruckus, and there'd be way worse things going on in the world, and there, that'd be to bring the end of the world that day. Same thing here with the, he got the hipster white. Be cool. Be free. Do what you want to do. Live your life. Support, be liberal. He got his hipster. And then he got the so-called wannabe black white. She grew up in, say, the black neighborhood, so-called black neighborhood. Grew up in the so-called black neighborhood. So now she's, she listens to some Sexy Red. So now she feels she's so-called black. Because they use this type of aspect and scenario because they already know Judah is a light unto the world, and everyone's going to graft into the holy kingdom of Judah anyway. We all got to learn the ways of Christ anyway. We all got to walk in his steps, learn his ways, have his mind, have the mind of Christ flowing through us. So nations and everybody's going to cleave and, want to be a part of the kingdom of heaven anyway. So that's why they try to push this narrative to where they got to be so-called blacks, They just like to operate on that left hand, operate in reverse, you know what I'm saying? Call good evil, evil good. Then you got the Ephraimite, you got the so-called Cholo, You got the so-called essay, gangbanger, tatted up from the head to the toe, Hold it down, We got our bats, we got our guns, we gangsters, Keep it gangster. Keep it gangster, dog. Keep it gangster, That's how they create this thing, man. And then you got it on the side too. Hey, try to be as a Gentile, you the first one to graduate from college, from high school. Better yet, college. You're the first to go to college in your family. Your family worked so hard to make it to America. You're somebody. Sell out, become a Mason, because there's no other way. Join us. And you can open opportunities for your children. So that curse, and those generational curses don't have to follow your children. You paved the way. You're the first Mexican to go to high school, graduate high school. That's the narratives they like to push, Or you can be as you can become the Mexican that, want to listen to a lot of screamo, Try to be as the Gentile, Then they got it with the so-called Asian stereotype. Yeah, you come to America, you work hard. You work hard, you build yourself up, you go through the college, and you become one of us. You join us as Masons, and this is going to begin, you can show how you're the first Chinese to come to America and become, doctor, etc., Saying what they do with the so-called East Indian, too, Same thing, the so-called Asian. You could be the gangster. Keep it gangster, dog. Keep it gangster. Keep it gangster, dog. Keep it gangster. Try to be thugged out, Fall into that stereotype. Be the thug, because when you understand that so-called Asian, it's serious because in Revelation 2, it speaks about the Church of Asia. The so-called Asians are, they have discipline, morals. So, they like to, push people into that narrative where, so-called blacks, Judahites, so-called blacks are thugs. So he steals something from your store, you chase him down and you get them rubber bands, Or her rubber, chase her down, get them rubber bands, So they love to paint that narrative in people's minds so people don't respect Judah. So therefore they don't respect Christ because Christ comes through the tribe of Judah. Therefore they don't respect the kingdom of heaven. They want people to follow after the ways of Lucifer, seek after the things of the Gentiles, and get caught up in Babylon. And everybody die and burn in hell. That's Satan's mission, Get people as far away from that light as possible, being blinded by his light. Same thing with the so-called Asian, push to emo, become emo, be free. Don't worry what no one thinks. Live your life. Do what you gotta do. So as it's written in Second Maccabees 4:15, not setting by the honor of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. So that's what those Greek, Roman, Gentiles is what they wanted to push. They wanted to push rebellion, rebellion against righteousness, and everybody joined them in rebellion and war against heaven. Forsake the ways of the ancestors, the ones who was keeping the covenants of the Lord, who was walking hand in hand with Judah, with Israel. That's why he said they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. We are in the world, but not of it. So we might be in this world, but we don't have to be of it. And that's the knowledge people are going to start learning and understanding. They like to push that spirit on the Gentile, be the extremists, See how far can you jump from a plane without dying, before you pop open that parachute, See how many risks you're willing to take, push your body to the limit, be your own God, rebel, as it's written, tempt not the Lord thy God. So they love pushing that spirit on people, man. Especially with Gentiles. Be a stunt man, That's why in Exodus 34:19, as it's written, all that openeth the matrix is mine own. So, we got to break out that matrix, Satan's way of thinking, get his mind out of us, that Antichrist spirit out of us. So this is very important. Billy, Billy is just short for William. In Exodus 3:14, as it's written, I am that I am, says just the will of I am, the will of God, Billy. So you see he's saying, Billy, you afloat too. So remember, Satan tempted Christ at Matthew 4 when he was doing his fast, was doing a 40-day fast. So you see Billy goes down the stairs in the basement because Christ ascends and does sins. So, Lucifer always trying to tempt. So you're saying you afloat too because he want everyone to cast themselves down and join him in hell. You afloat too. So, he like to create these characters because he can possess people easy with his ideologies and his mind and his ways of thinking. So look at this right quick.
Come with me. You'll float too. You'll float too.
Remember George? He lost his arm. Remember? And he was trying to chase Pennywise. He said, come down into the sewer. That was that bribery of joining them in a masonry and be possessed from them demons in hell. So you see how he's standing in that water in the basement. That just represents that sewer. It represents that lake of fire.
You'll float too. 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 You'll float too.
See how he want to talk through. He want to possess. He want to possess people because he's able to fill them up with those false ideologies, that false misunderstanding. He like to get on that miseducation that he can control them easy. You see, possession. Same thing, how that all looks. You see how he looks right there. It's the same way, how the people really looking in the spirit realm until they come out of that zombie state they're in. When they wake up and become awakened away from Satan's, ideology and break out that matrix, Don't call themselves blacks no more. Call themselves Judahites, It's very important to understand that, Gentiles no longer declaring themselves Caucasians, whites, He loved that narrative. Notice his main narrative, he always pushed the so-called black versus so-called white, because that just goes into the light and the darkness. And he liked to push that blasphemy in that sense, because he already know that, he already know how everything comes together. Once Judah and the Gentiles are together and they operating as one, it ain't about being no black, no white, It ain't about no one being better than the next. It all goes into that all of us being brought back in and returning back to the Heavenly Father and the kingdom of heaven. Judah, through the bloodline of Judah, everybody got a chance. It's all open arm. That's why Christ comes through the head of Judah, through the tribe of Judah as the head. All people should gather unto him, as it's written in Genesis 49:10. So I wanted to just do a quick video on that right quick. Just something to talk about. But thanks for watching Hide and Seek TV. Much more is coming, man. Peace.